Welcome to the Shoot to Hunt podcast with your host, Ryan Avery, a registered Democrat who loves the 6'5 Creedmoor, and the Jacob O'Shaney, his beard is made of the gypsy pubes. But together, they make the number 4 podcast in all of the US and they a great success.
Number 4, baby.
It is a nice.
Very nice. I'll take number 4.
Yeah.
All of the US and day.
I'll also take number 13.
13th is the lucky number of the day.
I agree. All right. Before we get too far into this podcast, I want to give away another swag bag before I forget.
Oh, it is working now too. We got review people. They're listening. They're emailing back in and they're collecting their goods. So we're on a roll.
We are on a roll. So you will actually get this if you reply to the podcast at shoottohunt.com. I am not going to read this whole review because it is a Bible.
Thank you for that.
I do appreciate you taking the time to write it all. Yeah, like Jake said. And basically it's just the 6UM plus more. And he didn't want to spend any more money, but he listened to our podcast. So now he's spending more money. He's been in your shop spending money. So
what's his name?
His name is B. Schneider 23. So I'm guessing his last name's Schneider. Maybe Brian. I don't know.
Yeah. Basil.
Basil. I don't even.
If your name is Basil, you're going to get something extra.
Yeah, if your name is Basil. So B. Schneider 23. Thank you for the 5-star review. Like I said, get a hold of us at podcast at shoottohunt.com and we will send you something nice and shiny. Also, when you do send that email, tell us your shirt size. That's it. All right. NRL ELR or NRL Nightforce ELR
You're already
Steel
thinking
Challenge.
about this weekend.
Yep, I am. Nightforce ELR Steel Challenge.
This is our post really sucking shooting podcast. Shot it this weekend.
I guess we have different outlooks on it.
I'm not saying that we sucked. I'm just not. It wasn't. I had a lot of fun. We learned a ton. I think we will definitely be better next year.
Yes, and I want to. My side. You can tell us your side. The biggest thing that I took away is the rifles shot well.
Yes.
Both of us shot well when we were actually shooting at the targets that we were supposed to be shooting at. And that we weren't holding wind wrong.
Only wind on the wrong side of the reticle.
And when we didn't time out.
I was just explaining this to somebody. So basically, Patrick, FedEx Patrick came in yesterday and I was explaining to him that basically it was pictured like just a circle. And then looking out from the circle was the stages all basically in a circle. So as you moved to the second half of the circle, your wind changed directions because naturally the wind is blowing one direction across the ranch. And yeah, so we both did it. I was hoping to be able to just talk shit about myself, but
I waited till the last stage.
The very last stage, Ryan fucking held wind on the wrong side. And
yes. And I thought it was pretty equal in the actual shooting part. You actually had a disadvantage because you were shooting first.
yeah.
But I think as a whole, we shot well. And like I said, the gun shot well. We left a lot of meat on the bone on timing out, though, because I went back and thought we timed out on 6 stages.
No shit.
So we probably left low end 10, high end 25 points on the board just right there.
I think timing out had to do with me having to adjust. I had that damn fucking double pull SkyPod way out in front of that chassis. I got the extension on that NV Pro, so I can't stay in the rifle and reach up. Even though I have long arms, I still can't reach the bipod. We didn't do anything to check bipod height really before we started the stage other than look at what people were doing. Now we realize that as the rifle is up on its staging point before you're shooting, you can get behind it and get a good idea of getting in the right spot. So that would have improved timing and visibility overall. Acquiring targets and visibility is difficult. Now it's because the stages were difficult, like the first stage we shot was stage 2 and it had these wolves. It was the wolves, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Like left to right. And if you moved off the first one to your second one and you didn't find the second one, the only way to orient yourself was to zoom all the way out and find the first one again. Because as you're you're back on the spotting scope behind the stage while people are shooting, and you're trying to move from 1, 2, 3, 4 through the targets to kind of get your landmarks, your direction, and the feel of the stage. But as soon as you get down in the rifle scope, it's an entirely different view, different perspective, because you're down on the ground. Your landmarks don't look the same. So it was not fucking easy. Like we didn't do bad because we were fucking up. It was hard to stay. And again, I had to zoom out, come back to the first target, and we fucked that whole first stage. I did anyway, pretty good.
Yeah, we didn't. We timed out, and I kind of figured we'd have growing pains because going into it, we were busy. We're both doing things. We didn't have enough time. We had a problem child gun with Jake that we got figured out last minute, and we didn't have a lot of time shooting together. And it's hard to shoot like that. Yeah, you can go to Rock Lake. You'd have to set up a little mock stage, but when you open up at 14, 16, and 1,800 yards, that's just
With
not
rust-colored fucking coyotes that you can't see.
That's hard to replicate here.
Yeah. And then wind and rain and dirt and all the other shit that goes along with it. It is difficult to duplicate the type of, well, now we know what to experience.
Yeah, so timing out of stages would be the biggest. If you're ever going to shoot this, is you've got 4 minutes seems like a fucking eternity, and then you get down there and it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. So you got to shoot up to 8 rounds. 16 rounds.
16 rounds between the two of us.
You could shoot possibly if you miss.
Yeah.
We did that a few times. So that would be the first thing, is actually spend time with your partner. We didn't communicate. We never got like frustrated. We never yelled at each other. I
thought the communication was great. It was personal mistakes that we had made, whether it be shooting at the wrong target or shooting on the wrong side of the reticle. I think the arrangement was good. I mean, the communication was actually very low, easy, calm. Yeah,
and I think my corrections, you'd tell me better, but I think my corrections were pretty close every time I told you to.
You did great. So just kind of, we would lay down together, and they would say, well, we weren't laying down yet, but they say shooter ready. You understand the course fire, and then you get to lay down. That's when your 4 minute starts. And we had already talked about the initial wind call. We already knew what our dope was. It's on a little card on the side of the rifle, and we would just confirm numbers back and forth. So even if it was 4.6 mils. As Ryan's getting into his gun, I'm the first to shoot. So he's saying 4.6 mils, check your turret, check level, 1.2 mil wind hold left, things like that. And I think the communication was, I wouldn't change anything about the communication, really, even to the next year.
I grunt a lot.
There's a lot of grunting. There's a lot of cussing, especially when we miss. And both of us are hard on ourselves. So as we fuck up here and there, we get up, and both of our wives were there and my son. Yeah. So we fuck up on a stage, and we get up, and we're all pissed off and, yelling and moving on to the next stage. And
my wife recorded us like 6 stages, so I'm gonna bring some in and have Luke put one of them in this podcast, and I know exactly which one. So
perfect.
It's when we shot at those goats, and it was fucking foggy. The opening Sunday morning, we shot at those mountain goats.
Oh yeah.
And we couldn't see. So
couldn't see shit.
2 stages we physically. And if unfortunately, they were the longer stages. Yeah. One was the 1,800 yards on the goat and 2,000 something yards on the square.
Yeah.
Both of that time period, it got really rainy and foggy, and it was really fucking hard to see targets. Yeah. And we recorded it, so I'll get it, and we'll put it in the middle of this podcast.
Yeah, we had like some Bluetooth microphones on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, and then I would change the other thing that so there's 3 things I wanted to talk about as far as scope. Next year I will have a ATAC-R scope on there.
Love the NX8.
Love them for hunting. They're great.
Now, trying to stay there's so much movement happening between you and the rifle, going from target to target to target in the one stage, that, getting back in the eye box is difficult. We're in some weird shooting positions. Sometimes we're really high. Sometimes we're pointing straight down. And the attacker has a better eye box.
Better eye box, and it has a little better glass, and it wasn't very hot, so the mirage wasn't a factor really in this shoot. But I just think overall, if you looked around, the guys that were, knew what they were doing. Yeah. They were using ATAC-Rs, and some were using the Collis.
It was easy to tell, looking through the 300 shooters that were there, who had either been there before or had previous experience. And if some guys were laughing at us because we have this 2-pound slick hunting tripod with a little mini swirl spotter on it. These guys have the really right stuff. The 2 vets that weigh 25-pound tripod with this big rig. They got a straight swirl with the reticle in it spotter. They got a Terrapin X rangefinder that both pointed at the same spot. One guy had another 4-foot pole going up in the air with a fucking
wind meter.
Windmill. No, they call it wind vane.
Wind vane, yeah.
Fucking like a big wind vane, like on a ball bearing. So you could just look up and see. And that was awesome.
Yeah. 2 guys had that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And I like that little cradle they have, whatever you call that little cradle that holds the optics.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at it with your spotter binoculars, your rangefinder's also on it.
Yes. That was badass. And believe it or not, a lot of the ranges were not exact. And it may be 5 yards closer, 5 yards further. But the bottom line is the guys that are doing well, they don't take any information that's handed it to them. Mm-hmm. They are going through every fucking pace. They are watching every shooter hit the targets, even looking at where they are impacting the targets. Everybody's asking everybody about wind, but I guess I would say that we do have the opportunity to put more time in, even when we're there. Mm-hmm. There was guys walking stages on Friday. We didn't do that shit. There was just, more effort put in.
And on those wind calls, we could get a wind call from somebody where you hear them talking. Our guns were different than their guns. So we had pretty slippery bullets. We had really good speed, and we were doing better because we were shooting against a lot of 300 Normas where there were 250 A-tips. Yeah. They're shooting like 28 and our BCs are really close, but we were shooting 3,000. So we were cutting off, 3 or 4 tenths and on our wind calls. So it was still like a 50-50 guess. And like I said, I think we did pretty damn well on that part.
And as far as it, like next, if we use the same bullet, same combination next year, we will be more practiced with what the wind calls are. Mm-hmm. Whether it be a 15 mile an hour full value, we're going to know already what a 15 mile an hour full value at 1,000 yards is for our load.
Right.
And maybe I'll know a little bit more then too. And then we're actually communicating about the wind or thinking about the wind together rather than you just making the calls.
Right. And then there's some big wind calls. We were holding 2 mils, sometimes up to 3 on the last stage.
Wasn't it 4 mils on the big fucking
3.6? I think it was on the last. So
holy shit.
It's an average. I just saw on they kind of put out a thanks for coming. And it was the average range was 1,326 yards. How often? That's the average.
Yeah.
13. And these aren't big. Some of these targets aren't fucking big.
No. But I will say, whenever there was an elk on the stage, we fucking cleared those.
That was my notes. If there was an elk up there, he was getting fucked up.
He was fucking dead.
Yeah, we did really well. They had 2 elk stages.
Yeah.
And we did fantastic on those.
3 elk each one. That was fun.
Dude, it was fun. Overall, I highly suggest even if you're not, totally ELR guy, it's fun. And it tells you. It
tests your fucking ability. It tests your abilities. It tests your weapon systems abilities. And of course, these are not the rifles that we hunt with, but you still get like I think I'd hunt with a 7 PRC 198 tip, no problem.
Yeah. And you get that stress level. You that first couple, you have little butterflies. You're like, oh shit.
That first stage, in the game. Dude, when we got done with stage 2, when we started, I'm sure you were thinking it too. I was like, oh fuck, this is going to be hell.
Yeah. We started with a 3.
A horrible, horrible performance. And then the next stage, I think we were up to like a 13.
Yep.
Which was great.
We went from a 3 out of 16. And then the next stage, we got a 13 out of 16.
Yeah.
And then we did pretty damn good, but on the foggy, long stage, we had
those 2
fucking 0, and that really killed us. But like I said, there's 39 teams, and we took 13th, which to me is respectable.
And then I went a step further, so I took our score as 13th team divided by 2, and then put us in position with all the rest of the shooters, and we were right about 50th out of 300 shooters.
I'll take it.
I think the guy that won last year, I think he was like 35th ish, 30th.
Is that the Piper?
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around there. I was trying to, he was a really good shooter. I was trying to reference, how we did versus how a guy that we could obviously know shoot well, how he did. I learned a lot just watching Corson go. He was the calmest fucking shooter. He would just get up, kind of get down on his knees and get down behind the gun and very slowly run the bolt forward. And he just fucking smooth, dude, just smooth and calm.
Yes.
And he did really well.
What was funny to me is when we'd set up on a stage and everybody had their tripod and their own little optic station.
Yeah.
It was like dead serious for like a couple minutes till everybody got their dopes and everything. And it was quiet and it wasn't that jovial. It was just like, all right, we're serious. And then people start talking to each other.
Yeah. Even then, some of the stages got real backed up. So it was, I think the last stage on day 1, we were there for fucking 2 hours.
Oh, those fucking movers. We really fucked the movers up.
Yeah. It was only one moving stage, but we thought, we're talking beforehand, we thought we had it dialed, but then the time came in, and really what it was is they limited you to 1 engagement per pass.
Which was 23 seconds a pass, you said?
Yeah, so we had 4 minutes. and we each had to engage the target 4 times. You had to hit what was the name they had for the first plate? Confirmation plate. So you had to hit a confirmation plate target off to the right to make sure you were shooting well, so you didn't damage the moving target. Mm-hmm. So what you hit, well, once you said go, the 4 minute start, then you have to hit confirmation. Then you had to wait for the pig to finish that travel, which I gave a half, right? So if we had 8 engagements plus a half and a half, it was 9 engagements times 23 seconds. That's 207 seconds.
Yeah.
That's basically 3.5 minutes.
Yep.
There wasn't enough time to do it properly, in my opinion.
And I believe the guys had only one, when we had went through, only one team.
One team cleared it. Yeah.
So, and the team behind us said they were like double hurrying and they still didn't clear it because they watched us fuck it up.
Oh, yeah. We fucked it up good. And then just understanding, which I think we had down pretty good as far as where to aim and whatnot, but it came down to the time and
I was good. This is the stuff that's good because I had never shot it. I had like a million questions and then it played out simpler than I thought it was in my head. So it was, anyways, it's a learning experience and we'll be back. And I can almost promise you, knock on wood, we will represent well.
So I think we'll get a bigger tripod for sure. Maybe one of those Terrapin X's or something similar.
And I got that Swaro with the
straight Swaro with the reticle inside.
It's SR80 or something like that. Yeah.
And I did like the tall wind vane. I might build that too.
Well, you can get that one from Kestrel.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to go in the Kestrel. You can just slide it up. But it was cool. He had on like another whole tripod post. Yeah. And I would always look up at it and it was really informative.
That's why I want to do it, is because I did like almost both days look up at it and see what the wind was doing. It was great. Yeah.
And you always you think and you look at that and it confirms it or you have a bad, you got to move away from people to feel the wind. So it was cool.
We didn't even bring up the mud yet, but it had rained basically the whole night before day 2. At least I think it rained.
Yeah. So the time you were there before is hot as Hades.
Yeah.
And this time it was a muddy fucking mess.
Oh yeah. So day 2, we were literally laying down in clay and it was getting on everything. You had to be careful with your ammo.
And I had the bright idea of taking Tanya's Lexus, which it's not a bad all-wheel drive, but it definitely ain't a truck. And there's a lot of people getting stuck.
Yeah. I think we got a lot of that on film. So there'll be a whole video that we put out on Shoot to Hunt that's covering everything we're talking about. I'm sure it'll be more entertaining than us talking.
Like a lot of people. I heard the match director just cuss a dude out in a Honda Pilot.
He ripped him. What the fuck is wrong with you?
It was awesome. Dude, so just so you know, in gumbo mud, just because there's a little grass, it don't mean shit.
No.
It's still gumbo mud over there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's about to slide down the hill.
All the other gear, like you said, the rifles worked out well. The rifles shot well, which was great. We didn't clean them. We didn't have any breakdowns. We didn't have any part replacements. The Vesper ran fantastic. All I did was wipe the bolt down on the morning of day 2. Go ahead.
No, you just go through what you did.
Yeah.
All he did is wipe off the bolts. And we shot better on day 2 than day 1.
Yes.
And everybody went and cleaned their guns. And we have probably, since you cleaned them, probably 200, 250 rounds on them.
Oh, at least.
At least. And we didn't clean ours that night and we shot better than we did. And for some reason, when we started, I had like a little vertical dispersion, and it's not like a lightweight gun. When you break the trigger, you can tell in the reticle if you pulled good or not. Yeah. And I didn't see anything in there. And then the next day, I think you were
tight.
Both shot well.
Yours was tight.
Yeah,
definitely. Double pull skypod worked good. You had the lightweight one. I don't think that really made a difference on performance.
No, once you locked it up.
Yeah.
And there's 2 different ways to lock that bitch up.
Yeah, that would be the difference. If you order the lightweight one, it doesn't have a pan lockout. So we drilled through the top and placed a pin on Ryan so that it didn't move. Yeah.
That's really about it. We'll be back next year. I liked it. Another thing that I wanted to point out is everybody there is nice.
Yes.
You think you'll go in, there's these prick A-type personalities, alpha males. Yeah. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Everybody helps you talk back and forth. It was really nice to see that.
I would say definitely nice. The better guys that are calling win better, they can tell the guys that are not actually competition for them. So they're always willing to really help. I imagine if you had let's say top 5 teams that are all in the same squad, right, it would be a little more... No, I'm not sharing my wind with you kind of thing. Or giving wrong wind calls.
Well, would you think that they probably wouldn't ask each other anyways? I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be all.
No, because we weren't literally, I asked one guy, because there was this one wind call on a big shot and it was Piper. And he's like, dude, you're not even in my division. So here you go. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I know that there's I think that Ken from SRS and Cliff want to shoot next year.
Yeah, we'll beat the shit out of them.
I realize now that there's a youth. There was only 2 kids shooting youth, so maybe we'll have Mason shoot next year. But we might have a bunch of people just in our, we'll make an unknown munitions squad. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, shoot to hunt squad.
Shoot to hunt squad.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. That would be fun.
Cool. I even thought we could do maybe on the unknown munitions side. Maybe we'll RO a stage and put up, like an unknown munitions easy up, blah blah blah. Hand out Jimmys, the original. Jimmy.
Yeah, and props to the ROs. That's a shitty job. It really is.
They're sitting in one spot for 2 fucking days, and then they were there 2 days earlier. Mm-hmm. They had the opportunity to shoot it if they wanted to, and the weather got nasty. Everybody had their shit going on. Other guys are getting yelled at because they're not calling impacts when they're supposed to. One guy in particular, I think, was not calling it properly on that last stage. Yeah.
And to his credit, the hit indicator had quit working.
Yeah.
But he has a BTX, and it's hard to argue if you see through a BTX hits and non-hits through. If you're comparing a rifle scope to a BTX, that BTX is seeing whole lot more clear than that rifle scope.
But when you look back and there's 5 guys with swirl spotters and they all called impact together, and then the RO says no impact.
Yeah, that got a little heated.
And then he tells you that I've been hearing that the last 2 days. Like he's been getting yelled at for 2 days straight about not calling impacts. And then, there might be something to it.
I thought it was weird he only had one eye. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, match directors, Tad and Pete did a fantastic job. Prize table looked great. Food was good.
Food was great.
Yeah, it was definitely a good experience. It's a huge time and money investment, I think. It was 2 full days of 11 hours of driving for us. And then you're there for 3 days, 1 day to check zero and register, and then 2 days of shooting. So it's quite the event to commit to.
Yeah. If you think you can shoot long range, this will test it.
Yes. I'm not as bad of a shot as I thought, but I'm not. I'd like to be better.
Yeah. When does the one thing and you had a little bit at the second day, I had this weird vertical the first day on my first couple stages. Then you had it the second day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's in the scope. You don't have a chronograph, so you don't really know what's going on, but then it would go away. So I got nothing.
Yeah. I ended up holding an extra 10th almost the whole second day after shooting low on the first stage.
And I'm not going to blame the Nightforce, but I'd feel more comfortable with the ATAC-R because they're a little more robust.
Yeah. If you guys are watching the YouTube of this on the Shoot to Hunt page, we have a rifle out in the middle of the table. This is a Macmillan Nimrod stock, unknown munitions, bottom metal and mag. It's a 300 PRC, Vesper action, ace barrel, fluted, TI Pro muzzle brake, Nightforce NX8, C624 MOA, Hawkins ultralight offset rings, Atlas Cal bipod. And this customer asked for a little bit of gloss covering up all the Cerakote, but he Cerakoted the whole thing and it looks fantastic. It's one of those where I don't want to actually give it to the customer. I'd like to keep it, but
it's beautiful.
It is a nice rifle.
That stock, if you guys haven't been able to grab one, you should try to go somewhere they have one. I mean, are you the only one that sells them outside of Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to come on unknown munitions.
Macmillan Nimrod. Beautiful stock.
Well, it's ugly stock, but it feels really nice shooting it. It is ugly, but damn, it is nice to shoot. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you got to take that.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the video actually to kind of relive it a little bit. But that should be coming out. We got him editing the bear camp video this coming week. So probably still a few weeks out, but we'll announce it.
Yeah, I'm excited to actually get some actual hunts on there. Mm-hmm. We may or may not have a turkey hunt, which doesn't really, I'm 50-50. If we lost it, fucking well, it's a turkey.
We had a hard drive failure that has the first 3 months of content since Luke has come on board. And so if you're looking at I think it's a SanDisk G drive. It's supposed to be the fastest up and down G drive storage. Oh, shout out to all the guys who gave us support of the podcast. And when we had so many, nobody came up and said, oh, Adobe Dishes, oh, Rockside. Everybody came up and said, oh, Shoot to Hunt.
Yep.
Which was cool. So we're going to bring more swag next year for handouts and whatnot too. But
yeah, you can't hand Luke the stickers. You fucking lost them.
Yeah.
Then he found them.
Nobody knew us for what we did. They knew us for Shoot to Hunt.
That was the funniest part is, and I don't know because I had a hat on or you had a shirt, but it was interesting because unknown munitions and Rockside are, been around a lot bigger than Shoot to Hunt, but I bet you 15 people asked us about Shoot to Hunt podcast or they liked it or
interesting. Because why would you want to listen to us?
Yeah, and don't blame that was Luke. If you met Luke, we're sorry. It's not our fault.
He's the tall guy that looks like Borat.
Yep. He's the one that did the intro.
Did we play the intro?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Damn sure played that intro.
Seems like a while ago.
Anything else?
I think that's good. It's a good wrap. Our load, I don't know if we ended up talking about the in loads.
Yep, we did.
We did. Okay, good deal. 565 or H1000 seem to be the two powders of choice for 7PRC. The 198 tip still will fit in our medium mag. It was 350 and 320 were the two different overall lengths. So it'll be a good solution.
And it seemed to be there was a lot of 300 Normas, and there seemed to be a lot of 7PRCs.
Yes.
At that match.
We do have finally have the UM hinge rings and the UM Tika rings coming out next month. So this is middle of June right now. We'll be delivering both the UM Tika rings and UM hinge rings in the middle of next month. We're just finalizing retail packaging and whatnot, but we are on schedule for so for those of you that are on pre-order for Tika rings or the hinge rings very soon.
Is any one of them going to have a problem with selling out? I mean, did they order? They need to get into pre-order, or you have enough?
Yeah, the Tika 30 low is selling a lot, along with the level, actually. So I guess I should say we made Tika rings that clamp directly to the dovetail on top of the Tika action, along with a level that also clamps to the dovetail that exists on the action. So this eliminates the need for any type of scope base. They're going to go right on. They're pinned with multiple location options, and I think they'll check a lot of boxes. So those are coming out very quick.
And the day they go live, you're going to lose some money. So they're $100 now?
Right now they're 20% off. So they're 130 retail. So they're 104 or 106 right now.
And the day they go live, they're going to 130. So
back to retail price. Yeah.
So order now.
Yeah. That's about it.